Good morning, y'all. Wiggle here. It's Thursday, the whatever, second week of January. We're having a meeting. There's several things I want to talk to you about today. I'm going to share my project with you, but I'm also going to give you a little advice. Take it or leave it. So we're having a meeting this Saturday, and it's a meeting of like-minded kind of homestead, off-grid kind of people. It's a personal meeting. We call it a wiggle meeting here. Kind of a wiggle. We're going to have it here once a month, and then we're going to invite people that we think might be likely prospects. The kind of people that are interested in coming out of the system, not just like homesteading or getting off grid and staying in the system, using the banking and the jobs and the school, the grocery store. That's all fine for some people, but we're looking for people that really, in a real way, want to come out of the system and just take care of ourselves and be left alone and produce what we need or trade among ourselves. Looking for more of a local group of people to be working together to do what we need to do to not rely on the system. That's kind of where my passion lies in all of what I'm doing here. So that being said, we were cleaning up our little space here. It's an old converted barn. There's a little side room over there. That's a little hall going out the side door. Got a little bathroom there. Got a little kitchen there. And then just kind of this open space. And we put these little lofts in. I put these lofts in, just really short, kind of like tiny home kind of thinking. Just a place, kids can hang out up there. Maybe somebody could sleep if they had to type thing, but it's just storage right now. So anyway, we're going to have the meeting in here. And it's cold in here. So two of the things I'm working on besides just cleaning it up, we're putting in this wood stove. It's Timberline, pretty decent stove really. Let me show you the one we're taking out that was worthless. Hold on a sec. It was this thing here. I think it's called a Gang. Yeah, and I tell you, not the greatest baffling system, not the greatest construction quality. Overfires and gets hot. It's not really a serious wood stove. It's the low end of a wood stove. I would not suggest it, to be honest. So it's just a leaky old thing that eats wood, and it just doesn't give you enough heat. It just flues too much heat up. It's just not a good trade-off for your wood, unless you're not real serious. You don't need a whole lot of fire. I'm zone 7, so if you're zone 8, 9, maybe that kind of stove is fine. But you're getting into 7, 6, 5. You're going to need a more serious, and further north you really need. I'm not going to give you advice on that. The point is I'm replacing this thing. So let me go back in there. This is the wood stove, the exact same one we have in the house. Now it is older technology. It's not EPA rated. It's not the greatest, but it is solid and it does throw off good heat, and it is fairly efficient as far as old school wood stoves go. It's got pretty good baffles on it, and it's built to last. It's a heavier thing. It's a good stove. So I'm putting it out here to help heat this space. When I have people here hanging out, it's probably going to be cold and snowy, so we want to be in here nice and warm. So I'm hooking this stove up. One of the things I wanted to share is that little 6-inch elbow there, that 6-inch 90. I had to go through all over the place to find this thing on the shelf. These days, hard to find. You might have to order and wait on it. My point would be is if you have critical components and systems that you're going to really be needing. Let's say this was in my house. I don't have an elbow. My elbow rots out, whatever. I'm trying to put it together. Don't have the elbow, have everything else. A wood stove's not going to work. That is a critical component. So make sure to have your critical components and have backups. I would go with the old adage, 1 is none, 2 is 1. It's the military adage. Go with that. Have a backup for that 90. I got one because it was hard to find, and when I got one, I got an extra. If I need one, I've got it. At any rate, it's a good investment because of these supply chain shortages. I don't think anybody's arguing that point anymore. They just go to the store and see it. Well, on hardware, that can be some serious stuff. You could wait who knows how long perhaps to get these things. And the more people that are going to start getting wood stoves all of a sudden, boom, you're out of it. And it's stuck on a cargo ship out in the middle of waiting to come in from the West Coast or whatever. You don't want to be there. You don't want to be looking around for somebody that can fabricate an elbow, or you don't want to try to do it yourself. It's not an easy task. You have to be precise. You have to have good tools. You could get it done, but it might take you who knows how many hours that you could be doing something better. The point is yeah, you spend 15 bucks on an elbow and you spend another 15 bucks. Times are hard, cash is short, but that $15 elbow it potentially could be worth $100, a couple $100 to somebody that really needs one later and can't get one. And I'm not trying to say to go hawking stuff off and doing arbitrage on people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the value is there if you put your money in it. If you're going to need it, get it. Don't ignore hardware. Hardware can be very critical. So your plumbing, your fasteners, your bolts, all, you know, flashings for your roof, shingles, just any and all hardware and building materials that you can't really build for yourself. You might want to think about having them. So anyway, I'll quit preaching, but this is serious business. You don't want to be shut down needing an elbow. You don't want to, like, oh, now I can't heat. The grid's down, ice storm, they shut the power off, whatever. Now you have no heat. And that can be very serious, obviously. It could be life-threatening for a $15 elbow right now. You know, you have some extra pieces of stovepipe. You have what you need that you could make something work if you had to. So if you have an extra T, that would work, but you're going to have to cap the bottom. You have to figure out how to make that work. T's cost more than 90s. I have an extra 90. I have an extra piece of pipe. I just went ahead and got it. I'm going to have it because I need it, and I might need it again because I have other structures that I want to put wood stoves in. This old thing here, I don't really recommend them. They're not exactly cheap either. These little fan heat exchanger things, man, they just don't last. They just burn out, man. I just never had good luck with them. I'm going to keep this one in place, and then I'm just going to open the box up. I'm going to make this into a little shelf. I'm going to take the old fan motor off. I'm going to make a shelf. I'm just going to get a cheap, either you can get a DC powered one or an AC powered one, and a little fan, and I'm going to have it further away and just kind of blowing in the box there, but it's going to be further away from the heat, and it's going to be a cheapie, so if it quits working, I just unplug it and get another one. I'm not going to try to rework this thing. I am going to try to take advantage of what I have and blow some heat down that box with a little fan, but it's I don't want to just waste it. So I'll show you what that looks like. I'm going to put some metal brackets on it, make that little shelf sturdy, and then just put a little fan on it. The other thing I'm working on is in here. So I got this. I had this in the other part of the barn. It's a propane stove, propane heater. So what I've had is I have that 1/2 inch, and then I have my shut off, and it goes to a 1/2 inch flare. Now the problem is I couldn't find anything I needed to get the job done. That takes the 3/8 flare, and I only had like a 16-inch piece of hose or whatever. And trying to get it from over there all the way to over here is a problem. And I went all over the place, again, looking for hardware, plumbing. I couldn't find it. So this is hooked to that. This other end used to be hooked up here to this little stove thing, okay? I don't need the stove thing right now. I need the heat in here. This is where we're going to hang out. This little part's insulated a lot better than the other part, so it's better to hang out in here. We can run this heater and be comfortable. But what I had to do just to get... This is my 3/8 flare that would go to my little short piece of pipe, and I couldn't find any gas lines. I mean, I couldn't find anything I needed. It was just endlessly frustrating. I ended up finding this shut off that goes from 1/2 inch down to the 3/8 flare. Great. Now I just need to adjust this 1/2 inch flare to a 1/2 inch pipe thread into the valve, which then in turn will go. So all this to get what should be, I should just have a single coupling that would change it, or even just a single hose. One hose on one end with the 1/2 inch and one hose on the other end with the 3/8. Shouldn't be that hard to find. It is not out there. I might be able to order it online, and I will find something and order it, and it'll be on the way here. That way next time I need it, I'll have it, and then I'll have these extra parts. I will hold on to these extra parts that it took to make this work just for the next time. I'll have something in stock that hopefully I can make if the need arises for another propane heater or whatever, propane appliance of whatever kind. Hopefully I'll have some way to make it work if I need it. Again, get your fittings, get your parts, have what you need. Critical stuff here. We may not be getting this. You know, you can eat other kinds of food. And sometimes you can use other kinds of plumbing, other kinds of fitting to get the job done. But at some point you may not have what you need at all. And again, one little piece would keep me from being able to heat my space. I better make sure I have that piece and some other things that might work, or even duplicates of that one little fitting. They're not a bad investment. That stuff is very valuable if you need it and don't have it. Anyway, I will quit harping. I just strongly recommend you consider what hardware is critical in what you're doing, whatever that may be, and make sure you have a plan. You may regret not having these parts later because it may be really hard to get. Maybe you have a hardware store in your garage, more power to you if you do, but not everybody has that. Especially if you're homesteading, off-gridding, all that, have extra components. Go ahead and just when you buy one, just buy two and just save it. Kind of like if you're storing food. You buy an extra can here, extra can there. Do the same thing with your hardware. You'll probably be happy you did. Probably a good investment of your money. Just have to do it in balance a little bit at a time. I don't think you'll be sorry. And if you don't use it, maybe your kids or grandkids will use it. Somebody's going to find value in that eventually. Especially if there's nothing on the shelf. That's it for now. I'm getting ready to go talk about my solar on a different segment. So this is Wiggle Out. All right, I thought I'd share a little bit more. I've got this leaky pipe that's going through to my metal roof, and it's created just a nasty mess down here, flooding. I got to figure out if I can get that, if the snow is finally melted, because I don't go up on metal roofs when they're wet, because man, that's a good way to just get shot right down onto the ground. Composition, you know, regular roof, that's different. Asphalt shingles, you get a little traction. Maybe you go up there when they're wet, maybe not. But I will not get on a metal roof when it's wet. No matter what kind of shoes, I just won't do it. Unless it's an absolute emergency. So if I can get up on that roof, I'm going to try to patch the leak from the top. Also, I do have some clearance issues. I mean, we've been running this wood stove and it's fine. I'm going to do a little better job. That up there is a double wall or triple wall stainless. A lot better. I used this cheap pipe down here. And it is cheap. It does burn out. It's just not the way it used to be. But it throws off heat. The heat that leaves, the flue heat that comes up from your firebox, you can pull some heat off of that and keep it in here. You don't want to cool it down too much because it'll get all sooty in there. Stuff will start sticking to it. But you want to have the thin wall. I would love to get a bunch of stainless single wall. That's really hard to find. If you can get that, I would just go with that. It's going to last about 10 times longer than this stuff these days. That piece there is only a couple years old. Anyway, I got to get these sections in, and I'm going to give myself a little bit more clearance and then make sure it's insulated around that. I don't want to lose all my heat right up the top there. I'm going to have a bit of work to do. I'm going to have to disassemble some of that woodwork. So I just wanted to show you the before and after of that. So poked a hole in my floor when I was moving it. The leg on the wood stove poked right to the floor. It's so heavy. So anyway, before and after. All right, now it's Wiggle Out. All right, Wiggle Not Out. Wood cook stove. Extra. I got that. I got this little tiny wood stove, which I have no idea how to find the pipe for that. But at least the top's worth something. The box has got some problems. It needs some help. But it's a wood burning stove. And you can get these things cheap. You got a place to store them. So, talking about just having a backup. This one does not have the water jacket. But I have the identical one in the barn here. I have the identical same one with the water jacket. So all the parts are the same. So I have off-grid cooking. It's not hooked up and not running. Again, the need for elbows and pipes and all that. But at least I have something to work with. And you could always run it outside and fabricate some kind of chimney that wouldn't be so important outside. Just to get the smoke up away from you when you're cooking. You could do that if you had to. Theoretically, you could probably just do it underneath here. Just put a spark arrestor on it and just let the smoke fly, whatever. But whatever you had to do. But that thing right there, if we ever really are off-grid, wood cook stove is like golden, man. If you have wood resources around you, you don't have to store propane or kerosene or pellets or anything like that. You can just go out and find sticks, and you've got a way to cook food. Get them now; they're cheap. You can find them. They're probably not even that far from you. If you have a way to move them and store them, you might get one. I'm going to show you this over here. Carrying on with the same theme. Here's my extra. These are reducers for my wood stove that I showed you. You got to go from 8 to 6. I bought those when I was just out looking. Here's my extra piece of 6-inch. I also always check the hardware section because see this jack here? I think they call them lolly jacks. Okay, it was priced at $90, marked down to $22.49. I grabbed it. I think the value is there. I don't really need this right now. I think I have a place to use it, but I just saw a lot of value in that, so I just snatched it up. Check your hardware stores, get the clearance stuff. You can find some real bargains sometimes and some real value if you know what you're looking at. So that's just part of the way I'm doing things here.